Creepypasta story time. Judge Angel. Today's an important day for the Clarks. After 10 months, Mrs. Clark is finally going to give birth to her child. Everybody in the region knows Mr. Clark and the Clarks. That famous and serious judge lives here. After a few hours, the nurse delivered the baby. The child walks out from the room in an awkward expression on her face and goes to Mr. Clark's office to see him. Mr. Clark? The nurse looks at him with a shocking expression on her face. Yes, what is it? Mr. Clark Look at the panicking woman as she frowns. You might need to see it yourself, Mr. Clark. What is it that needs me to go take a look at? Why not tell me now? Well, your child seems to be a bit special. The two arrive at the room where Mrs. Clark is taking a rest. She's lying on her bed, and next to her is Mr. and Mrs. Clark's child. Mr. Clark notices that other people who help with the birthing also seems to be embarrassed. When he walks up to the child, he sees his child, and instantly the expression on Mr. Clark's face becomes more shocked than everyone's. The child is a girl, but her hair is in the color of blonde, unlike her parents. Mrs. Clark is red, while Mrs. Clark is brown. And most surprising thing, however, is that the girl has a pair of terrifying eyes. Her eyes are all black, with the pupil of white of the eye, pure black. What monstrosity creature is that? Mr. Clark shouts furiously. Nobody talks. Suddenly, Mr. Clark grabs the still resting Mrs. Clark. You didn't mess with other people, did you? How could you give birth to such a monster? Mrs. Clark is very weak right now, Mr. Clark. Please. Like I care about it. Mr. Clark throws her back down to the bed. Tell my lawyer to come here. Concludes Mrs. Clark as he leaves the room. A few days later, Mr. Clark's lawyer, Taylor, arrives. Mr. Clark, about your daughter. She certainly is your daughter. Without a doubt, the DNA test does not go wrong. And the side test shows that her eyesight is normal. The doctor even said that he has never seen a case like this. Her eyeballs are black, but she has no problem with her eyesight. In fact, her eyesight is 2 times of a normal person's. Taylor, standing in front of Mr. Clark's desk, hands him a stack of documents on the girl's information. But she's a monster. She's not perfect. What I want is a perfect child, Mr. Clark says without even taking a glance at the documents. Then what should we do? Hand her to an orphanage? Taylor asks. No, that would affect person's impression on me. If that's the case, then I shall not let her go to school. I will recruit tutors to teach her. Don't let anyone see her. Oh, and also tell the nurse who helped deliver the child not to tell anyone about this. This is a very bad issue to our family. Mr. Clark closes his book and looks at Taylor. If any accidents happen, just finish her off. She is a failure after all. Damn, that's harsh. A few years later, Diana and Angela, the extraordinary girl who is now 13 years old. She didn't like to talk, possibly because she was locked up in the mansion all her life by her father, therefore becoming anti-socialized. Diana knows that her father is a very famous judge, and that he does things very fairly, always looks at things in neutral point of view. However, he always seeks for perfection on everything, which is why he has a bad reputation with Diana. Despite knowing that her mother and father were ever so well with each other before she was even born, it can be changed. Both of their parents decided to marry themselves at the time. Diana has never stepped outside before because of her eyes. She gets herself a mirror and looks at her eyes. They're pure black, but looking closely, she actually sees a little sparkle in them, like a small galaxy. She is often fascinated when looking into her own eyes. Her blonde hair is short and messy, but she usually has them brushed whenever her father is around, though it's unusual for her mother who brushes them. For Mrs. Clark, she never cares how much about how Diana looks. She is always her daughter on her daughter's side. Always think of her. Of course, she's always known that her husband, who does not like Diana at all, is up to. Diana doesn't have any friends. Her father has been imprisoning her for all her life. And even though the house is really huge, she still feels very lonely. She used to have thoughts of making a friend or like a certain boy, but it seems impossible in this situation. Currently, the only person that supports her is her mother, Mrs. Clark, so she really adores her. Diana thinks about these things as she watches the kids playing around from the window. Suddenly, someone knocks on Diana's door. "Come in." Mrs. Clark comes in and says, "Diana, I'll be going to the department store later. You want me to buy anything for you?" Miss Clark says as she looks at Diana. "No, thanks." "But dear, you haven't been eating anything recently, and you seem thinner than before." "I'll buy you something to eat later." Mrs. Clark left the room before Diana can even stop her. "I told you I don't want..." Despite saying no, Diana actually wants to try something from outside. Clothes, food, everything is not interesting for her now. She wants to try something from the outside world, but no. Diana knows that ever since she was born, a maid was employed by the family. Her name was Marcia, and her job was to take care of Diana. But the maid's job is actually, in fact, to be Mr. Clark's bodyguard. He spent a lot of money to equip this woman, who has loads of criminal records, to prevent Diana from causing trouble, as well as to protect him. After all, who knows what Diana will do to him? Thinking at this point, Diana giggles and thought, if I can, I would want to kill him. It would be Christmas in a few days, but Diana isn't excited about it, since she always spends Christmas as if it was a normal day for her. It doesn't matter whether she has celebrated it or not. Fortunately, whenever it's her birthday, Mrs. Clark would always prepare a small cake to celebrate with her. If she hadn't done so, Diana would have forgotten how old she was. Since there won't be having any tutoring today, let's do what I usually do, Diana thinks. She stands up from her bed, leaves the room, and starts wandering around the house. Even though Mr. Clark locked her up in the house, he never said anything about not letting her walk around the house. It's a good thing that the house is large and that the family is pretty much the richest in the region, but Diana isn't captivated just because of that. Also, Diana is utterly disgusted by ornaments, ones who cares for their pride. Diana always visits Mr. Clark's collection room, and even though he strictly forbids Diana to enter that room, she will always sneak in that room. In that room, she can stay for a long time, because there is one thing that really catches her eye: a pure white sword. That sword is placed in a glass case and is isolated from the other collections, as if it was something really special. Whenever Diana gets close to the sword, it creates a soundless radiance, and that sword always shines in silver white color. Diana would stand for hours to watch that sword. According to legend, the sword originally belonged to an angel during a war. The angel accidentally dropped the sword into the human world and was never found by the angel again. However, since then, the humans of the world began using it for different reasons. It was once used to kill, to protect, for personal benefits, etc. Thus, the sword was passed down like this for many, many years. There's also a rumor about the sword considering one who blind builds a good relationship with the master for eternity. Such a beautiful sword. If only you were mine. You were mine. Diana's black eyes reflect the image of the sword. She places her hand into the glass case and feels it as if getting sucked in. Suddenly, she hears footsteps coming closer. So, she hides herself. The door opens and someone comes in. It's Mashia. She is doing her daily patrolling. It is obvious that she's looking for Diana since Diana left her room without her permission. To have Diana's action restricted this badly, she stares at the maid with a hateful look. Diana comes out from where she was hiding as soon as Marcia leaves the room. In the evening, Mrs. Clark returns home with lots of things she bought from the department store. Almost all of them are daily supplies. Unfortunately, she meets Mr. Clark, who doesn't show up often at the front door. "What did you buy?" he asked. He grasps Mrs. Clark's hand and he asked her. And some of the items Mrs. Clark bought fall out, including some food she bought secretly. "Why did you buy food?" "Is it for that monster, isn't it? How dare you buy these things secretly?" Filled with fury, Mr. Clark pushes Mrs. Clark into the floor. Before he kicks his helpless wife, Diana came back and blocked her heartless father. "Father, what in the world are you doing?" "You have no right to call me father, you monster. Only the most perfect one can call me that." Mr. Clark slaps Diana, bouncing to the side. She stands up from the floor and glares at her father before he says, and leaves. Perfect. After making sure that Mr. Clark has left, Diana goes up to Mrs. Clark and asks, "Mother, are you all right?" "Don't worry. I'm okay. I'm quite unlucky today. How about you, dear?" "I'm fine. But I didn't tell you not to buy them for me. If Dad sees it, it doesn't matter, since you're my only daughter." Mrs. Clark touches Diana's face gently before she says, "Let's sleep together tonight, Diana." The truth is, Mrs. Clark cannot escape her husband's mind even if she wanted to. She has thought of divorcing, but she can't give up on Diana. And even if the divorce was successful, it's most likely that Mr. Clark will not let them go for good. "Mother," Mrs. Clark sits on the bed while Diana lays down on her mother's lap. "Yes?" Mrs. Clark touches Diana's hair softly. "Mother, do you hate me?" "My eyes?" Diana looked at her mother with her pure black eyes. "Of course not. Mother really loves your unique eyes. You're my angel after all." "Angel." Diana suddenly remembers the sword in the collection room. "Mother, do you want to escape from this home?" "Yes, I always wanted to." "Then let's run away together." Diana sits up. "Let's leave this place and we'll find somewhere where no one will ever find us to live in." Diana holds her mother's hand. "But Diana, your father is a famous person. He knows a lot of people. So, if he was to find us, we will definitely be in a very bad situation," Mrs. Clark says as she lowers her head. "But Mother, do you really want to live under Father's harsh treatment? You and I both know that one day I will be finished off by Father. So let's escape this place before that happens." Diana's eyes are filled with flame of passionate feelings, and her mother sees Diana's passion. She holds Diana's hand and says, "All right." Seeing her mother determined too, Diana says, "Then we'll run away on Christmas Eve. I prepared the plan already." Diana then tells Mrs. Clark about a plan until sunrise. Time flies. The day of Christmas Eve has come. Diana and Mrs. Clark will be escaping this house today. This house is no longer home, but hell. The master of the home is a judge, and and he is the law. Anybody who goes against him will no longer live on. Diana has been waiting for this day, and she prepared everything, and now she just needs to wait for evening to come. She looks at her watch. It is now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's time. Diana takes out a pendant. It's a photo pendant. She bought it secretly by sneaking out of the house to a newly opened antique shop near their house. The shop sells many different kinds of things, including the pendant. Since she sneaked out while wearing a disguise, she thought people wouldn't notice her. Anyways, she was not going to give that pendant to her beloved mother. Suddenly, Diana's room slams open, with Mrs. Clark covered in blood, running and screaming, "Run, Diana!" Before Diana can react, Mr. Clark pushes Mrs. Clark from behind and walks towards Diana and grabs her throat. He shouts, "You damn monster! I'll kill you! How dare you sneak out? Do you even know that because of what you've done, someone had taken a photo claiming that a black-eyed monster has entered our house? I thought it was something else, but now our front yard is crowded with news reporters." Right after he concludes, he throws Diana to the side. Diana, being thrown by her father, has her head hit the edge of the table and lose consciousness. When Diana regains consciousness, she notices that the floor is freezing cold and the air feels quite moist. It seems that she is in a dungeon. Mr. Clark has an interest in the medieval cultures. Therefore, he built this dungeon in this house. Now that I think about it, Father's taste is really disgusts me, Diana thinks. She stands up and wanders around the place. It seems like the only exit of the dungeon is the floor. There's nothing here, and despite Diana's body being very slim, it is still not possible for her to escape through the metal bars. Suddenly, Diana hears someone coming towards her. She stares at the person closely in the dark. "Hey, you little monster. How does it feel being here?" The footsteps came from Marcia, the hateful woman. "I knew your plans from the very beginning, and that's why I sent photos of you outside to the news reporters, ugly one." Marcia looks at Diana with a despicable look. "You beastly girl. Oh, but aren't you the same? You are also being controlled by my father, aren't you? Forced to depend on my father because of that, you damn woman. You're no different from a monster. You thought I don't know how you seduced my father every night, didn't you?" Diana looks at Marcia laughing. "You slut. You slut. You slut. You slut." Diana repeats nonstop until Marcia, irritated, opens the dungeon door and gave her a few punches until she coughed up blood. "Enough, you freaking monster! Your father told me that I can always finish you however I want." Marcia shouted as she stomps on Diana's head. "That's enough!" Diana, who is still being stomped, starts giggling creepily. Diana laughs hysterically as she opens her eyes widely. "No!" Diana grasps Marcia's ankle tightly and she screams. "The one who should be punished is you!" Diana stands up with one hand still holding Marcia's ankle and hits the woman in the knee with her other hand with intense power, instantly reflecting Marcia's knee. The pain caused Marcia to scream to tears. Then Diana sits on Marcia and slaps her a few times while she laughs. "Scream, you bitch!" Diana just starts to strangle Marcia. "You shouldn't provoke me. You should have never provoked an angel." Marcia struggles continuously. She grabs Diana tightly and scratches her arm to the point of having her skin scratched off. But Diana does not feel anything because she knows that the person in front of her has to be punished. "That's right, Marcia. I knew all of what you've done, and I've always known about it. So, I need to judge you, Marcia." Diana's face approaches Marcia's. Her large eyes stared at the woman. Done cannot escape from an angel's eyes, so I will And the woman looks back with a terrified look. What you have done cannot escape from an angel's eyes. So I announce your... Diana strangles Marcia even harder as she whispers into the woman's ear. Guilty! Diana tightens her grip as Marcia's eyes turn wide. Now everything is quiet. After making sure Marcia isn't breathing anymore, Diana stands up and excitedly says, I killed someone! I killed someone! Diana laughs hysterically as she hugs herself because she's finally done something she's always wanted to do. It's time for more trials. Diana immediately switches back to her serious personality. She arrives to the collection room and walks towards the glass case, looking at the sword inside the case with a cold look. It's time. Come. Even though she said she'll leave this place, but she has changed her plans. She will finish this once and for all and leave this place along with her mother. An hour later, Diana, covered in blood, arrives at Mrs. Clark's office. Father. She opens the office door slowly, but sees no sign of her father. However, just before she was about to leave, she sees someone laying on the floor. Just as she can see the person clearly, she cries, Mother! Diana runs towards her mother and holds her up. Her mother is covered in wounds and is stabbed with a knife. She is no longer breathing. No! 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 Mother! Nothing lasts for her. Even her beloved mother has gone. Diana cries as she hugs her mother, but then she notices the reflection of the sword. Someone approached her. She recognized him. When that person comes close, Diana suddenly grabs the sword and slashes the person, making him fall. Hello, Father. One of Mr. Clark's legs chopped off. Mr. Clark crawls on the ground, trying to escape, but Diana stops him by stepping on his wound where his leg has been chopped off. Ah! Mr. Clark shouts, Father, I thought you were gone. It will really trouble me if you are. She stabs, and stabs, making her father excessively bleed. What's going on, Father? Aren't you strong all the time? How can you get so low by a monster? Diana's eyes are filled with crazy and murderous thoughts. You know, it feels so nice to judge and sentence people. Maybe I'll become a great judge someday. Diana swings her sword. Judge, like hell. Judge, like hell will a monster become a judge. A judge is is only stable for those who are fair and perfect. Mr. Clark pants. Diana then points the sword at her father and says, Then are the things you've done ever the fairest. I am way better than you. Way too much. Diana stabs her father shortly. Every time she says the word, his organs flow out of him, and they are either being minced or mashed by Diana. Mr. Clark, suffering from severe injuries and exclusive bleeding, glares at Diana and shouts, You monster! Monster? No. I am an angel. An angel that is born to punish you. Diana raises her sword. Danny Clark, I now announce you're guilty. Diana slashes with her sword, chopping her father's head off before he has time to react. The man's body collapses as his head falls to the ground. Diana picks up her father's head, taking a look at it. Father, I knew everything. What you have done so far, I'll all be seen with my eyes, even if you don't treat me like a normal human. Diana throws the head to the burning fire. some reason, Diana notices that the blood is boiling and that she adores everything that she has done. That's right. Now she considers everything responsible. She grabs the sword tightly, shaking her hands, shivering at the same time. She lost her mind. Diana puts her mother's corpse into a suitcase. Don't worry, Mother. I'll find a nice place to bury you. Diana says to her mother's corpse as she gently touches her mother's hair. Diana changes her clothes into a white one, which shows her white complexion. Then she prepares herself for the sword, which is created a resource that seems to express the joy of Diana. Is that so? That's right. I'm now your master. I'm an angel. I have the right to decide whether people live or get killed by me. Diana swings the sword as she talks to the sword. She leaves the house with the heavy suitcase and walks towards the forest. She looks at the burning mansion before she steps into the forest. She smiles with satisfaction and disappears into the forest. There was a fire at the Clark's mansion last night. When the policemen and the firefighters arrived, they discovered large amounts of dead, decapitated corpses. The policemen suspect that most of the corpses were all servants of Mr. Clark. Of course, they also found Mr. Clark's body with the head burnt into the skull, discovered in the heaters. Mrs. Clark's body was not found, but she is also suspected dead, as they found her blood in Mr. Clark's office. Taylor, Mr. Clark's lawyer, was also found dead after the fire started. He also died from decapitation. Mr. Clark's neighbor was questioned whether the family had a child or not. All of them answered no. No data shows that the Clarks had a child either. A month later. Good morning. This is David Starter here at the morning news. It seems that a few people have witnessed a sword-wielding girl with white last night. Let's ask some witnesses about the incident. She's an angel. I saw her wings. She's a head carrier white ghost. She's here to judge us. She was going to take our lives. A man who was watching the news laughed in front of the TV. Angels. It must be a lie made by stupid people. Like hell angels exist in this world. He walks into a dark alley to smoke. You should never do that. Smoke. Not walk into a dark alley. And just before he puts the cigarette in his mouth, he is pushed to the wall by someone using the dim lighting. By using the very dim lighting, he sees a girl in white. Wait! You can you be? The man struggles as he speaks, but the girl cuts it in before he can end his sentence. Shh! You need to be quiet during a trial. No! How dare you defy an angel? Now, how dare you defy an angel? Because of this, I announce you guilty.